Good morning, Matty. Good morning, everyone. Back again for a SportsFX currency update. How's everything going?
Yeah, good, mate. Ready to go for a Monday morning, mate. As we are just talking about before, and the weather down here is rubbish, but that's okay. Just sitting at the desk, getting ready for the week ahead.
Yeah, no, we've at least got the sun out, a little bit of a breeze, so it's a better than the stinking hot weekend we had anyway.
Yeah,
Cooled
and the
down
weekend
just
was
a
good.
touch. Yeah,
Yeah.
very hot, very hot.
Mate, before we get into it, one of the things that really resonated with me over the weekend, 'cause as you know, my son's done some damage to his knee, and
Yeah,
I want to relate this back to sort of currencies and being able to talk to your trusted advisor, if you like. When he did it, we were sort of, okay, where do we go? What do we do? Who do we talk to? And you get to that sort of uncertainty piece about, okay, what's the next step? Do we go to hospital? Do we talk to physios? Do we speak to people that we know that we trust? Yada, yada, yada. We worked through that and got the outcome that we got. And I'm sitting there thinking, imagine if you didn't know where to turn or what to do or who to go to get the advice that you need
yeah,
to get you the outcome you're looking for, which maybe then think about what we do when we have clients who money gets held, they're not sure what to do next. The ability for them to just pick up the phone and get that calm advice that takes them through the journey and gets them the outcome that they're looking for just calms the waters and keeps everything smooth and no need for them to panic.
yeah. No, you're right. It comes across just in general day-to-day life, isn't it? If you can have someone you can pick up the phone to, ask a question, and they know, it's their background, they know what they're talking about. Just puts your mind at ease straight away. I think it makes you just have a level of comfort.
Oh, 100%. 100%. As you said, whether it be in just normal walk of life, be it in your professional career, whatever it is, if you've just got that avenue where you can pick up a phone and have a conversation, which is, I won't say it's rare in today's world, but certainly in what we do, everything's digital, which is great. That digital age is there and it's got its place to play. But having that ability, the old school, pick up the phone, have a conversation, might have 3 or 4 conversations in and around what it is you're looking to do, I still think is a piece of the puzzle that needs to be considered in all forms.
Yeah. Well, just on that, I had so I've got a guy up here. He used to be my coach. I've known him for 30 odd years. Now he runs football tours. And he rung me last week, and just because he knows what I do, I've mentioned to him before, when you've got tours coming up, just have a chat with me, and I'll let you know, what's the best thing to do. So anyway, he reached out to me because he's got close to 50 to 53,000 US dollars that needs to be paid in the next couple of weeks. So I just had a quick look at his bank rates and then the rates we could give him, and we were going to save him somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 Aussie dollars. But then when he sent me and was sort of, we caught up on Friday, and then we had a chat around what that actually looks like. So I was able to sit down with him and just discuss, all right, who are you paying? How much do you need to pay? When is it due? And what it was hotel bills mainly. So they've got a big tour. There's like nearly 100 people going on this tour. So they're obviously booking a heap of hotel rooms for a week in America. So the first thing he done was paid the deposit back in July. The deposit was $5,000 US dollars. He just got it debited out of his card using his Visa debit card. Didn't think much of it until he sent me across I said, all right, well, send me the statement and the amounts, and I'll just have a look at it for you. So I've done a bit of a dive into it. I looked at the US rate, the Aussie rate, and that was charged, and the transaction fee, which, to be honest, I hadn't even thought about at the start. I just thought about the exchange rate first. When I added it all up, it was 5.9% that he's being charged on 5,000 US dollars. So the difference of just say, us or a better solution doing that is $500, say, Aussie.
Yeah.
Looking at the bigger picture and the 53,000 that's due, that's then a 5,000 Australian dollar difference. And all we've had to do is I've told him, email your contacts at the hotel and ask them for an invoice with wire bank transfer details on there, as opposed to just cards over the phone. So they were just going to debit his card when he left the tour. And now we've got the invoices in place, the amounts we need to pay, and the bank details, so we can just do a direct deposit for him when he needs it. And he's going to be it was between 4,800 and 5,000 Aussie dollars better off doing it that way. And that's just going to stay in his back pocket now. Incredible.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. It's incredible. As we've said many times before, mate. Just that unknown part of doing business globally or internationally. People know they've got to do it. They see it as an easy option. They don't necessarily understand, and neither should they, understand what it costs them to do that. But when you can go back in real time, which is what I love about the business that we're in, you can go back in real time. You can check the rates. You can see what we could have done it for and what they would have saved and put money in their back pocket, which is either money in their back pocket or back in their customer's back pocket, and everyone wins off the back of that. The client, and by the client, I mean the hotels and everyone else, are still getting their money. It's not like they're missing out on their fee. It's purely putting an appropriate sum on what that cost of doing business is.
Yeah, no. So he'll be very happy when I give him the final news. I'm going to see him tonight, and we'll run through it and go, right, this is the actual, this is actually how much it would have cost you as opposed to how much it will cost you now. And he's now growing. Simple. Yeah, and he's growing that business. Like, he's obviously ran tours before COVID, then like everyone, it stopped, and now he's got them back up and running. I think this is the second one he's done, but for next year he's sort of got 3 or 4 planned. So if you're saving 3 to 5 grand 3 to 4 times a year, it's a huge difference.
100% it is. 100%. And one of the things we used to say in and around the sports side of things too, from sports administrators, is quite often be it the NSOs or the state bodies, they're relying on members, fees, and so forth. But when they've got to send money overseas or send athletes overseas, if we can save them, 10,000, 20,000, whatever it will may be, depending on what their frequency of exchange is, that potentially leads to a new headcount. Or a saving somewhere along the line, which adds value to their business by simply just checking out what we can do in providing them a better rate and advice.
Yeah, and not only that, not that we could have done it because it's obviously back in July, but back in July rates were at 67 cents. Today they're at 64. There's another couple of $1,000 potentially that could have been locked away as such. We could have booked in an exchange rate when we paid the deposit and held it till the final payment. And again, you don't know where rates are going to go, but in this case, you're $3,000 better off by putting a plan in place early on. When you actually dive into it, obviously we do it a lot, and we get to look at this a lot, and it's interesting, it's fascinating, it's fantastic that you can do that. But it's just it's enjoy being able to take that time and actually dive into the data of it and go, all right, well, this is what we can do. And as we always say, it's we're not really a money transfer business anymore. That's what we do, but it is around currency management. And it's like, all right, let's take the time to understand how much you've got, what you need to pay, when you need to pay it, and the sort of variables involved, and then have a look at rates, have a look at limit orders, have a look at forward contracts, and let us do that. Let us use our experience and knowledge in that space. All you need to worry about is how can you save me money? How can we do this in a better way? So really interesting. And I know you also touched on a mate of yours that you bumped into over the weekend. I'll let you tell that story because again, here's 2 guys that we've come across within a couple of days, and there's huge savings to be had, or just better advice to be given.
100%. And again, it's just an everyday conversation when people are traveling or they're heading overseas. The simple question was, how do you intend on transacting while you're overseas? And the straight back comment was, I'll just use my debit card or my Visa card. The funny part of that, or the part that I found interesting, was this person is involved in the financial services game. And was transacting his own personal money, but just thought, it's just easier doing it that way. And then we had a conversation around that, and I talked around the rates, the fees, and what that would look like based on just the simple fact that he's going into Europe. So he's losing, close to 50% of his money on the exchange anyway. So why do you want to give another, 4.5% back to your bank? And then not only that, that'll go up on a weekend, as you well know, mate. So we talked through that, and by the end of the conversation, we worked out that there was several thousands of dollars that were going to be saved based on what he'd already predicted was going to be his daily spend and trend while traveling throughout Europe. And I said,
Yeah.
mate, that's money in your back pocket. And it's literally a 2-minute conversation. And then they go away, they're educated, they're smarter for the conversation. Now, whether they come to SportsFX, that's to them. But they've at least got a conversation they can go home and have and get the right solution for them when they travel overseas. And as I said to him, just pick up the phone, mate. I'll talk you through it, give you the right option. If it's not us, it'll be someone else that we know, and we're happy to put you into that space. But don't give your money away. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know, and you'll find it will be. It'll be one of those things that you'll get a call about it. I'm sure after it's sort of he's digested the information and has another think about it. Next time he goes to book something or pay for something, he'll be like, "Oh, I better ring Manny, otherwise, otherwise I'll hear about this next time."
Well, as you said, mate, it's for me like the travel companies that we work for and work with. He's exactly the same. He will be booking his accommodation. I know he's booking his accommodation in these European cities ahead of time.
Yeah,
Now there'll be whether he's paying deposits down on the top of that or he has the ability to just pay it depending on what those rates look like at the time. At least he can make those educated decisions now rather than just turn up in wherever he might be, whichever country it is, and just put his credit card across the
yeah,
desk.
yeah, yeah.
There's
No,
better
it's
ways.
no, it definitely is, and like that, it's while we handle one particular thing being bank to bank transfers, there's definitely services out there depending on what you're looking to do, what you need to do. It could be travel cards, it could be cash pickups, whatever it may be. Just reach out and we'll point you in the right direction for sure.
No, 100%. As you rightfully said, mate, at the start, we want to work first and foremost on your currency management. We will transact, we'll do all that sort of side of things, but what fundamentally at our core is just give you the best advice, the right advice, and point you in the right direction.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, I will jump into the rates now. I'm going to share my screen and jump through a few charts here for this week. The Aussie dollar has been getting smashed against the US. That's up there. All right. So where we were, and love still talking about this. Where we were a couple of weeks ago. Now, what are we? Maybe 2 months, so maybe 6 to 8 weeks when we
Yep.
bumped up and hit this 69 cent mark, and we've had a huge, obviously, sell off since then. And then with the election happening, we're now down here at sort of 64 cents this morning. I took a little bit of a zoom out on it earlier just to look at the last couple of lows. So look, if this keeps going, we've got support at 63.60. The next level down is about 62.60, and then the level sort of from October 2022 is 62 cents. So there's still potentially a way for this to fall if it keeps going this way. We'll look out on a weekly and just look at that sort of larger trend while it's making these sort of higher lows overall from October 22 when we hit that 62 cent mark. Yeah, it's looking concerning. I'd be worried that we might come down and touch a few of these. A couple of reasons why. We've got obviously the US very positive at the moment. Obviously, everyone getting behind Trump and tariffs and all sorts that he's going to be working on. The DXY, so the US dollar index in general, is highest at the highest it's been in about 12 months. They're looking at a potential interest rate cut. Now the markets are sort of pricing that in, but there's still a lot outside of that as well, being what's happening, with the new what's called like his cabinet, his sort of team that he's putting together. I see Elon Musk's in there. There'll be a few others. So yeah, a lot of volatility to come. So yeah, I'll just be if you're holding US, moving it back to Australia, obviously fantastic times. We're up at sort of 154. I'll look at it just from the other way, 154, 155 now. Again, if we do reach those high levels, there's a potential for that to sell off. So there might be a little bit more room in it. But overall, as we said, from the 1st of October to now, you're, what's that, 7.7, so nearly 8% better off, or 10 cents, which is
Yeah,
which is massive.
yeah. Massive, massive.
So that's our friendly US. When I look at the yen, again, we sort of talked about that, last week. Still in that consolidation period, they've got a lot of, still uncertainty. I think with their governments, the change in government there, what's happening. The markets are pricing in potential interest rate rises over there. The sort of figures I looked at over the weekend were 5 to 12 basis points in December. That's potential. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. For obviously for Aussies traveling to Japan and taking up go for a skiing holiday, fantastic time to be buying yen. Make it a cheaper Asahi if you're going for a beer after you ski. For the Japanese boys, for the Aussie boys playing rugby in Japan, you want to see this obviously come back down and get this back down to these sort of 94 levels where we've seen in sort of August and September. That's just obviously going to give you more Aussie dollars back here if you're sending home your salary.
Yeah.
And the other one I was looking at, Euro, hasn't moved too much. I mean, it had a big run up on election day as well, and it's just sort of skidded around. But again, it's had a few peaks and troughs, but it's sort of hovering around this 61 cent level. Give or take for the last couple of months, we've been as high as 62, as low as 60, but sort of just averaging, not as volatile as the others. And the pound, bit the same. It's Aussie pound's been dropping. The pound Aussie, it's sat from that again 193 to 196 level. We'll look at it from that way because that's what we normally deal in is people holding pounds. And again, you've got that chuck a few sort of lines in there of 193 give or take there, 196, sort of up and around here. You can see it's just sort of trending within that. A couple of peaks out, a couple of peaks underneath, but overall still just within that range where decent. As we always say, if you can get above $1.90 on pound Aussie, great. Anything above 193 and above is multi-year highs really. So still at the moment moving money across from the UK, very good. And a couple of other ones that have just come up in the last couple of weeks. So pound US, we've got a few clients that need to worry about the pound US. Now that since the election happened, and even since again that sort of 1st of October where we've started to see the US gain a lot of traction, 6% down. So if you're holding US and you need pounds, that's moved 6% in your favour over the past couple of weeks. Got one particular client who does need that, so this is good news for him. We booked his last one around 123, and obviously since then it's been miles away. So we'll start conversations with him again around that. And Euro US, which I think we touched on last week.
Yeah.
Same. Just look at these charts. If you just there's pound US huge down. Momentum. Euro US has been even bigger. That's dropped from $1.12 to $1.05. Aussie US, same. They're just all having that same look to them at the moment, which is US dollar strength. Everyone buying into the US, off the back of the election and what may come of that. So yeah, some real sort of interesting charts. Aussie New Zealand, I'll just touch on because it's one that we look at, but again, very much sideways, $1.10. Give or take, as we said, I think we said last week, might have been the week before. $1.10 is, here, $1.11's here, and it's just bounced in and out.
Bouncing out of that.
Of that. So, yeah, nothing. We've had sort of the big moves. We've had a lot of big moves there around that election cycle. The US obviously very, very strong at the moment. And again, they don't always stay that way. So it will have a swing again. It will swing back the other way. It might be within days, weeks, months. You never know. But if you're holding the US at the moment and need to move it back to Australia, pounds, euros, whatever it may be, you can take advantage of some multi-month, multi-year highs at the moment, which is positive.
Well, I think you're right. Obviously Trump leading into his inauguration in January, late January. As he pulls together his what I'll call a cabinet, if you like.
Yeah.
His team, as you say, he's got Musk in there to look at the regulatory side of things and shave that to within an inch of its life. And then whoever else he puts in there. So it's going to be really interesting. And I think you're right, that US dollar trend will probably maintain and continue while he's building that out. And the euphoria in and around that election win, the size of that election win, everyone will will back that in and what that looks like from a tariff point of view and international trade. You've only got to listen to our Prime Minister talk at the moment, and the commentators talking about the relationship with the US and how good is it? Are we strong? What's it going to mean from our export
Mm.
perspective, and shoring up that relationship with Trump and his advisors, I guess, to make sure we're a friendly ally rather
Yeah.
than a friendly ally with significant tariffs.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know. Volatility is definitely going to be it's definitely going to be in the markets for sure. Which it's great for us. Not great if you're earning money overseas or have bills to pay overseas or trying to pay a mortgage while living overseas. Volatility is not great for you, especially if it's going in the wrong direction. So
That's
yeah,
right.
with these next couple of months coming up, potential a lot of volatility is a great time to sit down with your trusted advisor in this space, or ring us, have a chat with us, have a look at what the next 3 to 6 months looks like for your business or for your individual, requirements, and put a plan in place to keep yourself out of the volatility, really, and get yourself removed from it. Then, no matter what Trump and Musk are talking about, and policies they're putting in place, it won't affect you. It won't actually cost you money. So yeah,
No,
interesting times ahead for sure, but definitely worth having many conversations with people to try and like that, remove yourself from these volatile times.
agree, mate.
Fantastic. We'll cut it off there. I think 20 minutes of us chatting is long enough for people. But yeah, as always, reach out. There's obviously a lot going on. Still upcoming, a lot of interest rate potential cuts or increases from all current countries, which has a direct impact on currencies. So yeah, anything you need, feel free to reach out and get in touch with us at SportsFX.
100%. All right, mate.
Fantastic, mate. Have a great week.
You too. Speak soon.